Tom Hanks and his friends get caught up in a deadly game of fantasy
I am the maze controller.
until they take it too far.
It won't be a fantasy.
Too bad for one of them, because now there's no turning back.
This is only a game.
Hey folks, Doomed Wizard here. It's been a while. I've been kind of busy working diligently on the revamping of D&DP, which is eating up a lot of my time. It's actually gotten much bigger than I thought it was going to be. It was supposed to be just a nice little quick, game, but now I decided to go all out with it. But speaking of going all out with things, also, well, starters, you might notice we're not in my tower this time around. We're not even in Mike's tower. Uh, we're in Mark's tower. Say hi, Mark.
Hi.
You know Mark from other videos. Anyway, speaking of going all out, my friend Mike here has gone all out with possibly one of the funnest games you'll ever play, Grimoire. This is the game that your parents thought you were playing when you were playing D&D. He has written this game in a way that it's almost like not a game. I'm gonna let him explain it a little bit. We're gonna go over the basic gist at first, and then if maybe do some later videos, we'll go a little more in depth with it.
The gist of it is that it's an occult-oriented role-playing game.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily horror,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, it could be.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the idea, what you were saying about what your parents thought you were playing.
Yeah.
That's really what gave me the original idea,
Mm-hmm.
is that whole satanic panic thing. And
Yeah.
I thought, what if I made a game that was really more along the lines of what all those fundamentalist Christians thought Dungeons and Dragons was.
Yes, this is the game that if it was in an 80s movies and you were playing it, bad things would happen in your movie.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So I thought, what if it actually kind of like taught you how to cast magic spells and
Yeah.
how to summon demons and all. I mean, it doesn't really. It's all made up, but
Wink.
I don't
Individual results may vary.
I don't recommend that you try any of these spells.
Yes. We've played it a couple times, and so far, no demons have followed any of us home.
No.
After game night. Yeah.
So yeah, that was the gist of it. I read a lot of. I've always kind of been interested in the occult and like symbolism and different religions. So I used a lot of that. Did a lot of research.
A lot. This book, I'm gonna butt in here for a second. This book is one of the best looking books you'll ever see. I'm gonna put some stills up on the screen for you guys. This book is so well made, so well put together. The typesets, the imagery that you use, it really does feel like something that would have, something that would have been considered like satanic when we were kids.
Right. Yeah, I used a lot of like public domain art because I wanted, because it looks really cool. I wanted it to look sort of old fashioned. In a way that I couldn't do with my own art, really.
Because you are yourself a great artist.
Oh, thank you.
But you can see a lot of his art in his other books too, like Argonaut's Odyssey. Okay, well, I have a question.
Yeah.
Who is Dr. Kitos Giovanni?
Oh, he's a friend of mine. He's the guy who lives in New York today. I went to visit.
Oh, okay.
He helped me write the spells.
Who's Dr. Petra Alexander?
Well, she's also a very good friend of mine.
Okay.
She wrote many occult books.
Okay. one of the cool aspects of Grimoire is that it's diceless, and in it we cast lots for gameplay. Explain how to cast lots in your game.
Well, basically, what you do is you will acquire a number of stones, like these. These I just got at a craft store. But I mean, game stores sell similar things. Or you could use whatever. Pennies, actual literal stones. And in the book, there's a mat, and since the PDF is free with the physical book, you can print it any size you want. And you will collect the number of stones that is required for whatever action you're trying to perform, and roll them, drop them into the center of the mat, and they will spread out. And depending on where they fall on the mat, that will indicate your success or failure.
So these rolls, these lots, are then interpreted by the guide, which is a kind of a GM for those of you. It's just because sometimes it's obvious what the answer would be. Sometimes it's a little gray, depending on where they land, and that's up to the GM to figure out. Okay, cool.
Right. In fact, I have a more advanced system, which is more towards the back of the book, where you actually cast different shaped charms, and that would be a little bit more ambiguous as to how that's interpreted.
Okay.
And so the guide would have to, probably use their imagination,
right,
and figure that out more.
Right. And this is a contemporary game. You'd say you can play it contemporary. You can play almost any modern era would work for it. So if you don't want to play 2024, you can play 1980s right smack in the middle of Satanic Panic.
Right.
So
I assumed, just that it would be current, and that it would be, your character would sort of be an offshoot of yourself.
Right. Which you covered here in your spiritual form.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Want to explain what your spiritual form is?
Well, your spiritual form is basically, in other role-playing games, what you would call your character. But in this game, it's more of a sort of an alternate version of yourself that you're sending on these adventures to perform different tasks.
Right. So it's not you, it's your idealized version of yourself, or what you would like to.
Right.
I am not Crash Bronson.
Right.
I would love to be Crash Bronson, but I am not Crash Bronson.
Right. So your spiritual form could be anything. I mean, it could be any gender, any race, any kind of profession you want. I mean, there's no limitation. It's just sort of a fantasy. Sort of like in the tarot, how they have I forget what they call it now, but sometimes you take one of the cards, and that's indicates, it symbolizes yourself. And then however the other cards lay, it relates to that. But yeah, that's basically what I have in mind with that.
Okay. Explain boons.
Okay, boons are basically, they're like your character's ability scores, like in other role-playing games, strength, intelligence, dexterity, and so on. But they're in the form of a bonus. So you would have from 0 to 6, basically, for a beginning character. And 6 is going to be pretty rare.
Right.
But so when you create a character, you take the mat, you cast 6 stones on the mat, and depending on where they fall, if they fall in an area that's associated with strength, you would get a +1 to your strength. And if you get one that's, falls into intelligence, you get a +1 intelligence. And if you get 2 that fall into something, you get a +2 boon.
Right. So it does have it does have the same aspect of like a role playing game where it has your stats, but instead of having a number like a 17, you've got you have a plus.
Right.
Which is something that a lot of games do now.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice because it just eliminates an unnecessary number to have. And it breaks it away from other games.
Right.
So yeah.
Now the exceptions though are 2 stats, and most of the stats are basically ripped off from
We all do it.
from Dungeons and Dragons.
We all do it.
Strength, dexterity, intelligence, wisdom, constitution, and charisma. But I have 2 extras: body and essence. Those will have both a boon and a score, and the score will be like a higher number, like body will be basically hit points, and essence will be like your sort of magic points.
Yeah, like a mana pool or something.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of games have character classes. Grimoire has archetypes,
Right.
which are kind of like character classes.
Yes. Yeah. They're basically character classes. They're the game instructs you to meditate on this question as to what archetype you're most closely aligned with.
Right.
And once you have meditated adequately and you've determined this, you'll find that you are either a conjurer, which is your basic spellcaster, and they get more bonuses on doing research and locating spells and grimoires. Also, they can memorize more spells. Then you have a psychic.
I knew you were going to say that.
Now, a psychic can also, everyone in the game can cast spells.
Yeah, that's a cool aspect too.
But a psychic will have certain abilities that they're born with, or that they develop over time, that are not technically spells, but they work similarly. And these would be, your basic psychic abilities: ESP, telepathy, empathy, astral projection. Just different things like that. You start with 1, and as you go up in ranks, you can develop more.
Right, and ranks are similar to levels.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. In order to go up a rank, you have to master 5 spells of your current rank. So I don't have experience points. It's just once you do that, I have a detailed initiation ritual that you have to follow.
Yes.
Totally have to follow, or it doesn't count.
Right. Well, we're going to order our robes on Amazon.
And then you are raised to rank 2, and then you can start learning rank 2 spells, and so on and so on. Then you have the old soul. Now, an old soul is somebody who has gone through reincarnation many, many times, and they have the ability to recall their past lives. As you go up ranks, you can recall additional past lives. And you'll also get more abilities, like being able to regress into your past life, actually be able to go sort of transfer your consciousness back in time to the actual location of where your past life lived, and things like that. It goes on. I mean, you get more and more crazy abilities as you go up in ranks. The next archetype is the Slayer, who is basically, although they can learn spells, they're sort of like an anti-magic type of character. I based it on Ash from the Evil Dead movies.
Yeah.
Because he does cast spells in some
Sort
instances.
of. Not necessarily successfully.
But he's very resistant to the evil that's attacking him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the only character that recovers from being possessed by the demons.
Yeah.
So the Slayer gets weapon proficiencies, and they get the ability to resist magic. I mean, everyone can resist magic, but they get
a bonus in it.
and they also can recover from things like possession, vampirism, and stuff like that. The last archetype is the Hunter, and the Hunter is basically a Ghostbuster. They use technology, and they have a lot of knowledge, and they can do research like a conjurer. But they use technological devices to combat the occult. Like, for example, they could have goggles that let them see spirits.
Yeah.
Or they could have recording devices that will enhance the voices of spirits so they can be clearly heard.
Right. For only $599.99.
Right.
It's got a really cool little equipment here.
Yeah, I made their equipment as like a little ad.
Yeah.
And then they have other devices, that can actually attack spirits or protect them from spirits. I based them on the Ghostbusters and also a comic book character that I created a while back named Dr. Macabre.
One of my favorites.
Who is basically that. He fights spirits and demons and stuff. And he has all this equipment. Like his suit makes him able to touch spirits because it's specially treated with some bullshit technology.
Technological BS.
And so he can actually interact with them physically. And so.
Now, archetypes also have professions and skills.
Yes. Yeah, I kept that really kind of vague in a way, but basically you just pick whatever profession you think that your spiritual form would have. Doctor, stuntman. Yeah.
He gives you a decent list in the book, but pretty much the sky's the limit. Yeah. That's one of the best things about this too, is like there's just enough information to get you going and let the players and the game master just run wild with it. You're not bogged down in the details of every single thing.
Right.
It's a lot of, just like casting lots, a lot of it is open to interpretation.
Right. I don't have like a skill list. It's just basically if you're a forest ranger and you're trying to do something that is forest rangery,
like arrest bears,
yeah, stop bears from stealing picnic baskets or whatever.
Yes.
You would get a bonus to your lot casting when you're doing something because it's something that you're familiar with.
Yeah.
If you're a surgeon, obviously you can do things that other people can't really do effectively.
Like surgery, perhaps.
You're also going to have an alignment. Like, basically like in Dungeons & Dragons. There's only 3 alignments, though. Chaos, neutrality, and law. That's part of the map. That's all shown on the map. We'll talk about that in a minute. And the reason that's significant is because depending on what your alignment is, maybe there are certain spells you wouldn't want to cast.
Right. Like you're not gonna cast Death Ray, for instance, if you're like a good alignment. You're not gonna,
Yeah, there's an aspect of the game where you can have thralls, I call them. Like you can enslave people, basically. And if you're of good alignment, maybe you can, enthrall somebody for a brief time, but you're not going to keep
right
slaves.
Right. No, or if you're of good alignment and your adversary is chaotic and gonna murder a school bus full of bunnies.
Right.
you're gonna want to keep them from doing that for a little while.
Right.
So tell us about the Mystic Circle.
I based it on certain things that my dad used to talk about. He was, a very knowledgeable person. Okay, basically, this is what's depicted on the map, on the casting map.
Yeah, which the people at home are seeing currently on the screen.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's 8 sections on the Mystic Circle. Each represents one of the aspects, strength, and so on. So each aspect is associated with a planetary symbol. Mars is strength. Jupiter is intelligence. Venus is charisma. Mercury is dexterity, etc. So when you cast your stones, depending on where the stones fall, it's associated with that aspect. The yin and yang in the middle indicates a balance between all the aspects. And I did that because this is essentially based on the I Ching, or I Ching. There's 8 trigrams in the I Ching. And they each have a different meaning.
Okay.
So I kind of based it on that, except I used planetary symbols instead of the trigrams. And then I also divided the Mystic Circle into 3 sections, going horizontally. You have receptive, which means you're responding to something. Okay. Balanced, which there's a balance of the 2, and active, which means you're actively trying to make something happen. So in other words, if I'm trying to punch you in the face,
I do.
I'm the active one, and you're the receptive one.
Okay.
So I would use my strength to try to punch you, and you would use your dexterity to respond to me trying to punch you.
So it's like similar to opposing roles.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. And then vertically, we have physical on the bottom and spiritual on the top. And these aspects are arranged so that the physical aspects are on the bottom and the spiritual aspects are on the top. So if I'm trying to perform an action that's casting a spell, say, I would want to land a stone on the spiritual side. And if I'm trying to punch you in the face again,
what? I don't know if I did.
I would want to land a stone on the physicals.
I remember when you were first talking about making this, you wanted to make it diceless. And we were all like, piss posh, that's impossible. But you've managed to do it. I mean, the mat looks a little intimidating, but it's pretty simple and straightforward after you've thrown your lot, cast lots a couple times.
Right.
So and this is the gist of the game is tied up in this.
That's the core mechanic.
Yes, the core. That's what the kids say. That's the core mechanic of the game. Yes.
Right. is the casting.
Yeah.
That's basically all there is to it.
So then, what would you say? And I think we'll wrap it up with this. What would you
Okay.
say what is the goal of the players in Grimoire?
One is to advance your mystical knowledge
Mm-hmm.
as you go up in ranks. The other goal is to use your mystical knowledge and deal with events. that,
Right. We did an adventure where we inherited a house and it turned out it was haunted,
Right.
and we had to survive a night in the house. kind of a storyline.
Right.
Yeah, and then we
Yeah.
met Bigfoot.
Right.
So as one does.
I mean, it's really kind of open. Whatever kind of adventures you think would be fun.
Yeah.
It could be, aliens or Bigfoot or other magicians or demons or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we wanna cover in future videos. We want to cover the way spells work, the monsters in this book, and possibly even maybe do a playthrough on a short game. If you guys out there want to see any of that, let us know in the comments down below. I'll have links down below for all of my stuff from Grimoire to. Yeah, nice. Why am I doing this? I'm just gonna put there. From Grimoire to Argonauts Odyssey, and I'll put a link for where you can find your other stuff. I'm also gonna have a link for Strangeville, which is available in print, PDF, basically any form you need. I'm gonna be making some videos in the future where I go through my process of how I'm modifying and updating D&DP to be a little more player friendly, because this book is a hot mess. Well, as usual, Mike, it's a lot of fun having you in the tower, even if it isn't my own. So if you like these kind of videos, you like my content, you want to see more of this, let me know down below. And right down there, don't forget to do all the YouTube things, the like, the subscribe, hit that all button that's important now so that YouTube knows I exist. As always, Mike, it was a pleasure having you. And as always, thanks for watching.